What's your favorite MLB ballpark? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be ranking from worst to best all MLB stadiums. I have my favorites and I have my least favorites. So I took some time to rank them all and I'm going to share them with you. You guys might agree or disagree with some of my opinions, but let me know down in the comments what you think. Getting it started at number 30, we have the obvious Oakland Coliseum. I mean, this is a multi-purpose stadium that they don't use for multi-purposes anymore. The foul territory, from the dugouts to the baseline, it's just too much. The fans are much further from the action than a typical ballpark, and just how ugly the large seating is that they don't even use this top part. And their attendance is pretty low, and that could just be the team's performance, but Oakland Coliseum comes in at number 30. Coming in at number 29, we got Tropicana Field, the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, they are actually a good team. They've had a lot of success over the last couple years. The one thing that they lack is fans showing up to their games. I'm just not a huge fan of how it looks. Obviously, the Trop, it looks so dark. The turf just looks ugly. The batter's eye is really basic, just being a flat wall right there in the middle. I get being in Tampa, you have to have a retractable roof, but the Trop being a dome, it is the bottom of my list, and I'm sure many others. I've never seen Tropicana Field out of the 29 and 30th spot. It's pretty low on my list. Coming in at number 28, we have Toronto Blue Jays Rogers Center. Some people really like this. I have never been a fan. I think the turf and the huge retractable roof, I just don't find it to be that enjoyable to look at. Because in these rankings, you're looking for what did the team put into their ballpark that's unique to their team. And obviously, them being the Blue Jays, it's all blue. But I just think that the batter's eye, it has a blank spot right in the middle. It is not a pleasant ballpark to watch on TV, in my opinion. That's why it's at number 28. Next, coming in for number 27, we got Guaranteed Rate Field, home of the Chicago White Sox. Their name even sucks. I mean, Guaranteed Rate Field, there's nothing personal about that at all. But Guaranteed Rate Field, it's not that it's a horrible ballpark, it's the fact of what it lacks. I heard someone call it the vanilla ice cream of MLB stadiums, and that has never seemed more true. It's just the most basic stadium. Any team could move in here and it could be theirs. There's nothing that stands out. And the one thing I was looking at when I was ranking these ballparks was the view from like the home plate seating. You can get some nice sunsets sometimes, but really you get no view. The billboards, the sponsorships in the back, just, they are one after another. It's not a great ballpark in my opinion. Coming in at the number 26 spot, I have Angel Stadium. You may be a little surprised. The only reason it's not in the same place as Rogers Center or Guaranteed Rate Field is because they actually took time and made a really nice looking batter's eye in the middle outfield. You have this nice rock looking area and these bushes. That's something. And when Mike Trout is healthy and playing center field and he goes to rob a homer, it's nice to see him catch in front of these rocks. But other than that, it's a pretty basic freaking ballpark. The view isn't even nothing special. To the left of the right field foul line, you have this open area with no seats. I think that's just an eyesore. I know they probably use that, maybe the field crew, I don't really know. The concrete right there, it's like going into a tunnel. You think there would have been a way to cover that up a little bit. So to me, Angel Stadium's just another pretty basic ballpark, nothing crazy. It is old. It's just starting to show its age a bit. Coming in for number 25, I have Miami Marlins Lone Depot Park. I don't know about you guys. I hate this ballpark. The only reason it's higher on this list is because the exterior is pretty cool. And it's one of the newer stadiums. It opened in 2012. I don't like it. The batter's eye, the grass, it's not horrible. They just took out two things that made Lone Depot Park special. The fish sculpture in the middle. And I know they put that outside, but I never was a fan of it. But Marlins fans, when they took it out of the interior of the ballpark, that took away another special part of the field that made it for the Marlins. The fish aquarium behind home plate, I understand why they did that. It was a safety issue for the fish. But other than that, I find this to be a very basic ballpark. Next, we got Chase Field. This, I've had mixed feelings on it. I am not a fan of it because of one main reason. You have the outfield wall, batter's eye. It is such an ugly looking scoreboard, and when you hit home runs out there and they bounce off the wall, that's not satisfying. I'm not a fan when I'm watching it on TV. It's just not a pleasant look. But the ballpark on TV just looks very dark and dingy, and they don't have much natural lighting, so that's why it ranks this low on my list. Coming in at number 23, this may come as a surprise to some people. I have Kauffman Stadium of the Royals. This ballpark, to me, other than the fountains and the big royal crown in the middle, their scoreboard, this ballpark just has a lot of cons to me. For one, the view. You have a view of absolutely nothing. The outfield seating is very limited. I don't have much else to say about it, and some people may disagree with this take, but it's definitely a bit of an eyesore for me. Next, I have Comerica Park. The only reason it ranks this high at 22 is because of the view. This is one of the first ballparks. The exterior on look, you have some nice scenery, but on the inside, I think it just does lack that special touch of the Tigers. There's nothing too personal in there. The scoreboard's a nice look, I don't mind that. We're starting to get into that. It's not a horrible ballpark, it's just still basic. Coming in for 21, I have American Family Field of the Milwaukee Brewers. Lighting is always very weird inside of this ballpark, which is unfortunate for TV watchers. This is a ballpark on my list. It's not far from me. I have not been there yet. That's definitely one soon. Being at a stadium in person is very different than just watching it solely on TV. I might make another one of these lists in a couple years and we'll just see. But American Family Field is still low on this list for one main reason. It's a trend, as you can tell, the batter's eye. It's not too far from the Arizona Diamondbacks. It's just a bit smaller scale. It doesn't go from the center field wall all the way up to the scoreboard. There's a bit of room, so if you hit a ball just right, it will drop in there. But it reminds me so much of Chase Field, this is my pet peeve, of having the big scoreboard flat in center field. Next at number 20, I have with a similar name, Great American Ballpark. Home of the Reds. This I can actually give them props for one main thing. They do have some personalization to their team. The smokestacks in deep right center, they're a tribute to Ohio's river famed steamboats. I gotta give them a point for that. One thing I did have an issue with the Angels is in the right field, they do have this kind of open area, but they pull it off a little bit. Instead of just seeing some concrete, you still have it's a pleasant look. Next, we got Progressive Field of the Cleveland Guardians. Another semi-basic field. I'm a big fan of the scoreboard in left field. I like the trees in the center, the batter's eye. That just kind of ties that emptiness all together. Just some nice trees. And they have a lot of outfield seating, but I don't think it's too much. I've watched some rankings where people critique like the upper decks. It's too much. I don't find this ballpark to be too much of an eyesore regarding that. Next, we have Nationals Park. This is also a very basic stadium. Almost a little too basic. I look at this ballpark and I think of all there's nothing too special about it. The view is okay. I do like in the middle, the batter's eye, they have the grass. They do have the Washington Nationals logo back there. I'll express it one more time. We're just at the awkward phase in my ranking of we're at the ballparks that they're decent, they're nice, not horrible, but they're just basic. Number 17, we have Citi Field. I've heard mixed feelings on Citi Field. My biggest thing, this will be the first time I do mention it other than the Coliseum, I believe. But in left field, the third deck of seating, I'm not a fan of that. It makes the ballpark look so sunken in. I know that they're in Queens, so they're not right in the head of New York. But I just feel like, this came out in 2009. I really feel like they could have, tried to make a bit of a better view. The one fault with Citi Field is the batter's eye. The apple comes out when they hit home runs. I am a fan of that. That is like a personalized thing with the Mets. I give them a point for that, but just the plain blackness around it is a bit dull. I think there's something that lacks there. That's why it sits at 17 for me. Coming in at number 16, we got Globe Life Field for the Texas Rangers. This is the newest ballpark, coming out in 2020. Believe it or not, some people put this really low on their list. I find it I find it nice. I don't mind it. It is one of the better retractable roof ones. The batter's eye is a bit boring to me with that green wall. Pretty basic for me. Coming in right at the 15 mark, we got Target Field and the Minnesota Twins. I've seen a lot of people have this in their top 15. I put it right at 15. I personally, looking at the stadium, I don't see anything that stands out too much to me other than their extremely high seating in their outfield. Other than that, it's not a horrible ballpark. The view is decent on the right side of things because you can't see out of the left field, but I think it's one of those ballparks you might actually have to be there in person to really see the realness of it. It's just going to be mid for me. I do like it, just not enough to put it any higher in the way of some of the other really great ballparks. Coming in at number 14, this may surprise some people, or maybe not. Maybe you feel the same way. But I have Dodger Stadium. This is the third oldest ballpark. It still doesn't look too aged, but I have some things about it that hold it back from being like top 8, top 10. Never been the biggest fan of the yellow color of the seats. One thing that I do question, in the outfield, you have 2 separate large seating sections. There's like a gap behind the wall before the seating that I've always seen and I've always questioned. The center field batter's view, there's absolutely nothing there. The scoreboards being in the seating sections isn't horrible. It is a classic ballpark. You can't fault that. It is nice. It's nice to watch games on here, but I gotta fault it for the outfield. It's a bit awkward for me. The center field, there's nothing there. That's why Dodger Stadium is still very mid to me, and that's why it's at number 14. Coming in at number 13, we have Minute Maid Park of the Houston Astros. This is one of the better retractable roofing ballparks, in my opinion. I believe they have it open a good amount to let that light in. I love it. I really do like this ballpark. I think the outfield is nice. The batter's eye view with their logo in the middle. That's how you make a nice batter's eye view. With the large scoreboard in right field, I am a fan. The view, yeah, but when the roof is closed, there's not much to it there. So there's only one other closed retractable roof option ballpark that's ahead of this, and we're going to get to that. Next at number 12, we have Yankee Stadium. This was lower on my list, but I bumped it up a few notches because I really was looking deep into it, and it's a nice ballpark. It really is. Overall, it's a good stadium. It is a bit newer. I mean, it's, 14 years old. Coming in at number 11, we have the last retractable roof on my list, T-Mobile Park. This year, they hosted the All-Star Game and the Home Run Derby here, and I'm a fan of this ballpark. It's not top 10 worthy. It's just right there. I think it's a solid ballpark. I like it. Coming in at number 10, I have Busch Stadium. That may surprise some people, maybe not. I think it's a tad bit, I hate to use this word, I might get roasted. I think it might be the slightest bit overrated. Take that with a grain of salt, okay? I just don't think it's like top 5. The arch in the middle, that's definitely a really nice factor. The view is nice. It's a nice all-around ballpark. Red seating to go with the Cardinals. Outfield seating's nice. I like the 2 scoreboards they have out there. Overall, it's a solid ballpark. I really do think it's nice, and that's why it is in the top 10. That's really all I gotta say. Even the batter's eye with that grass patch. A lot of home runs are hit right there. Coming in at number 9, we got Truist Park. I was just there at the end of September, so not even a month ago. So it's fresh on my mind, and it's honestly a really nice ballpark. I love the chop house that they have in right field. The batter's eye, having some of the trees in there to not make it just this plain open area, that's, sells it together. I'm pretty sure they call it the Battery, that they have their whole, friendly area that, people can hang out before and after games on off days. So in the right field, they have this glass. I don't know what building it's for. I'm sure I could easily look it up. But I like the view of just having that building right there. I think that is a nice looking building. The glass windows, the brick wall that, hides the bullpens under there, which I really like bullpens being like that. Kind of hidden if you can. The scoreboard's nice in center field. Overall, it's a solid ballpark, and that's why it's at number 9. Coming in at number 8, we got Camden Yards. Okay, the one thing about this stadium for me is when they push back the wall in left field. I don't know how just doing that can make it already go down a couple spots, but just seeing this plain green wall, I don't know what it is. it is very awkward to me. You can clearly see how far they pushed it back with this weird gap in left center. They do have really nice view. Obviously having the warehouse in right field. Overall, I think it's a good ballpark. It's not top 5 for me though. Coming in at number 7, I have PNC Park, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Man, I think this ballpark is a bit overrated. Don't get me wrong, it's great. Having the bridge, the city skyline, the water, everything. It's a really nice ballpark, but I've seen a lot of people put it at number 1. I just don't think it's there. There's something holding it back for me, but a huge factor that I'm considering on every ballpark is, what is it about this ballpark other than it belonging to the team? Is it so special about their team? This having the Roberto Clemente Bridge, that's a big factor up there. And I think that goes for everyone who ranks it. It's high up there just for that bridge alone. It really, I think, ties the whole ballpark together with it even being on the outside of the ballpark. Coming in at number 6, I have Citizens Bank Park, home of the Philadelphia Phillies. This ballpark has definitely been becoming one of my slow favorites over the last couple of years. The center, batter's eye with the trees and the brick wall, there's something about that just really ties it. I love that look. The upper decks just look real nice with that large billboard on the left side saying Phillies right above it. I think this is a really solid ballpark. I like watching them play here on TV. Coming in at number 5, we have Petco Park. This is a really nice ballpark. From the interior, with the view being just quite incredible. I think it's one of the best views in all of baseball. With the Metal Supply Co. building on the left, that just ties everything in. I'm being kind of vague with some of these ballparks, but I can just tell when a ballpark is really pleasant to look at and watch on TV. This is definitely up there on the top of one of my list of ballparks to visit over in San Diego. I think they did a great job with this ballpark. Coming in at number 4, I have Coors Field. I think this stadium, other than them having a really bad team, they have a really nice stadium. There's just so many things about this ballpark that I really do love. I love their scoreboard. Looks like a mountain. The top of it is like a mountain, and I think that's very personalized to their team. The center batter's eye being all of these trees, I really enjoy that. Bullpens in the right field, their fencing is a bit high, but I don't know. They make the bullpens look really nice in this stadium. Coming in at number 3, we have Oracle Park, home of the San Francisco Giants. When I tell you this is on the top of my list of ballparks to visit, with the bay, with the Coca-Cola bottle on left, it's just an all-around good ballpark. McCovey Cove, everything I just love the background of it, the scoreboard. Everything to it is just so nicely put together. I'm a fan. I definitely want to visit this one day. Coming in at number 2, I have Fenway Park. This one may turn some heads, it may not. The reason why it's number 2, you cannot discredit how great of a ballpark historically in and out this is. It's on the top of my list to visit. The obstructed views, and given old ballparks do have that, but there's a section in right field of seats that look straight ahead into like the outfield, and you would have to turn to look at the person kind of next to you to see where the action is on home plate, first base. So that I do find a little bit awkward, and they do have a good amount of those. But considering that this came out in 1912, over 111 years ago, it's quite amazing that it's still standing to this day. It is a really beautiful ballpark. Again, definitely on the top of my list to visit, just because it's a bit more cramped, views are obstructed, sight lines. So that leaves us to the number 1 spot. I really struggled with what ballpark I wanted to give number 1. Definitely a couple good options on there, but I had to go with none other than Wrigley Field. And I don't know if it's because I've been to Wrigley Field more than any other ballpark, so maybe I'm a bit biased. When I walk into Wrigley, I feel such a friendly atmosphere. The rooftop, the green ivy, the batter's eye, grass, it's just quite a special place. They did get to make renovations to it, moving the bullpens from the foul line to under the bleachers, and I think that right there, I love when you take an ugly looking bullpen area and you hide it, or you put things around it to not make it look like a bullpen. And I enjoy it. There's 3 main pieces to look at. You have the main scoreboard, you have the right field scoreboard, and you have the center manual scoreboard. This ballpark came out in 1914, and it's just up there on my list, and I think it's definitely a destination place for every baseball fan. Hate if you want, I may be slightly biased, but it's definitely up there. And if I was going to give any ballpark to the top 5 that I mentioned at all, I think Wrigley Field did deserve it. And I just have to mention, Fenway and Wrigley being the 2 oldest ballparks, still on most people's top 5, I think that's actually quite insane. I think that's very impressive for both ballparks with building and reconstructing to make it such an updated, modern era ballpark. So that wraps up this video, guys. It is currently 12:50 in the morning. This was a last minute. I put this list together a few hours ago. My intention was to not film tonight, but I was really excited to make another video for all y'all. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Comment down below your takes. What's your favorite ballpark? How many ballparks have you been to? I've only been to 3. I've been, of course, Wrigley, Busch Stadium, and Truist Park. There are so many. I would definitely love to go to Petco, Oracle, Coors Field, Dodger Stadium's up there, Yankee Stadium. The list goes on and on. So anyways, that concludes this video. I hope all of you guys enjoyed so much. These videos take a little bit more time to put together, so a big like and a subscribe would absolutely mean the world to me. I'm trying to pump out as many videos here as possible. So thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.